I want to tell you that one of the things that I would say, highlight in my book is confirmation comes before negation. You confirm a person with what their problem is, and it changes things already. You don't say, no, 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 that's not important. You go with them, you confirm them, and then they can let go more easily. And psychiatry has always done just the opposite. If you were a person who said, I'm Jesus Christ, come on, you know you're not Jesus Christ, you're so and so and so and so, they negate. It's the wrong approach. Moreno said, you don't do that. You go with the protagonist. And once he'd been affirmed and confirmed and respected, you can let go of an idea more easily. Not totally, perhaps, but more easily. You're more flexible.
Yeah, I agree with that, because this is a way of getting together with the person, reaffirming the person's truth.
You join them. You don't fight them. You join them. There are many ways of doing that, but the most important is say yes. You know, Moreno was wonderful also with children. They would say something, and first thing he would say would be yes. But let's look at that. But the first one was always yes, sure. And then let's look at this a little bit more. Then you've got them meeting out of your hand more easily. So affirmation comes before negation. So with the Jesus Christ patients we had, of course you're Jesus Christ, we accept that. Imagine if you have an idea, any day fix, and I say to you, you're crazy. I mean, that's actually what the psychiatrist practically said. It's not the truth. The truth is blah, 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 blah. You're going to say that guy's crazy. He doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Separate something else. That's not the way to approach it. You don't fight them, you join them.
But then what, Zerka? Do you think that the process when you take this Jesus Christ thing, if I say that I am Jesus Christ and you say, right, fine, so we play that.
Well, you might say, Jesus, would you like to give the Sermon on the Mount now, here? I mean, you take it very seriously. And, I mean, there was a guy who thought he was Hitler. You know, he treated Zerka Volume 1.
Yeah.
He gave him all the important people Hitler had to deal with, internationally. Auxiliaries. It's called the auxiliary world. You know, that what he did was he gave them their auxiliary world. They're living in this auxiliary world, and he made it possible for them to live in that world. Now, that's the extreme of it, but you understand what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then gradually you can correct, slowly.
Well, the correction, I'm assuming that the correction will be having the person looking at herself or himself and being herself. And at the end, even if his person...
Well, it goes in steps. For instance, this man who thought he was Hitler called his wife Eva. That was not her name. When she came to visit and he called her by her own name, we knew we were getting somewhere. Getting closer to the reality. But he lived in a German section of New York where they all spoke German. So the reality for him wasn't so strange. Now, and also another thing. If you're Jesus Christ, you might not want to sit down and eat with your apostles because you never know if there's going to be the food is going to be bad. Besides, who wants to eat their Last Supper?
Mm-hmm.
And the whole idea of the Last Supper, no, I don't want that yet. So you have to understand the rationale, this whole thing. And then when, in fact, Moreno had such a patient, I mentioned him in my other book, the Quintessential Zerka, one day he sat next to one of the apostles who had been employed and ate off his plate. That was the first social contact. He began to trust that man. So it was food that linked them together. Well, you may call it paranoia, but hey, if you're Christ, you're not. You have to be very careful who you relate to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, I have a saying on the wall of my office. I don't know if you've seen it. Life is a test. It is only a test. If this were your actual life, you would have been given better instructions. I think psychodrama is the better instructions.
I'm convinced about that. Mm-hmm. The problem is to convince the world about that.
You're right. Yeah. It is the problem. But the more people, you know what Moreno would say? Well, he told Lou, one of his students, you know, people think I'm crazy. And that's okay, I probably am. But you see, I make people like you crazy too, and you make other people crazy, and that changes the world. It's slow, but it'll change.
Mm.
So we don't know what the total effects of all this are going to be. I may not see it in my lifetime, but it's going to have an effect. I mean, now psychiatrists are talking about action and interpersonal relations as if they found it out of, by themselves. Come on. There's a German saying, same story in green. Oh, it's already been here, They don't even know where the inspiration comes from. It doesn't matter. It's just so they have the inspiration. Spread it. Use it.
Mm-hmm.